I will call our meeting of Wednesday, March the 18th to order for snowy Peterborough County. We just can't seem to make it out of winter. I'll start with the roll call. Asphodel Norwood, Mayor Wilford.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Burt.
Good morning.
And online in Cavan Monaghan, we have Mayor Graham.
Present.
And Deputy Mayor Huntley.
Good morning, Warden.
And Douro Dummer, we have Mayor Watson. Good morning. And Deputy Mayor Nelson.
Good morning.
And in Havelock, Belmont, Methuen, we have Mayor Martin.
Present.
And Deputy Mayor Webb.
Present.
In North Kawartha, we have Mayor Amiot. Good morning. And Deputy Mayor Whalen.
Late top of the morning to y'all.
And in O'Donoghue, South Monaghan, we have Mayor Taylor.
Here.
And myself, Deputy Mayor Clark. And in Selwyn, we have the Deputy Warden and Mayor Senes. Morning. And Deputy Mayor Black.
Morning.
And in Trent Lakes, we have Mayor Lambshead
I am present.
and Deputy Mayor Armstrong.
Present.
Thank you. We'll now start with our land acknowledgement.
With deep respect, we acknowledge the lands and interconnected waterways that bind us together, the foundation for all life. These lands serve as a keeper of history and stories and are a source of inspiration. In recognizing this, we embrace that all living things possess an important energy and purpose. We extend the utmost gratitude to the original peoples who have been caretakers of these lands and waters of this region from time immemorial, and to this day who continue this commitment. Peterborough County's dedication to reconciliation remains steadfast. In this spirit, we are committed to nurturing meaningful partnerships and connections that contribute to an environment of prosperity and well-being for all generations to come. This acknowledgement is made on the Treaty 20 land and the territory of the Mississauga Anishinaabe, and within the traditional lands of the Mississauga and Chippewa nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaty First Nations. Further, our gratitude is extended to the nations of Alderville, Beausoleil, Curve Lake, Georgina Island, Hiawatha, Rama, and Scugog Island.
Now, have a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Need a motion now for the adoption of the addendum agenda. And Councillor Burt and Councillor Armstrong, all in favor? Thank you. Does any councillor have a declaration of pecuniary interest in any agenda item? If so, please disclose and the nature and interest of that item. We have our minutes from March the 4th. I need a motion for those. Councillor Lambshead and Councillor Wilford, all in favor? Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to Brian Robertson, our Director of Planning, Development and Public Works, to make an introduction.
Thank you, Warden, through you. Want to take the opportunity, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to Rod Porter. Rod Porter is our new General Manager of Operations. Rod brings an extensive background in municipal operations. He's been responsible for roads maintenance, for fleet, specifically within a municipal environment for many years. Brings a background from a civil engineering education, and I think we'll do a fantastic job supporting the county moving forward. So I take this opportunity to bring Rod up, say a couple words if that's okay.
That's wonderful. Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks, Brian, for the introduction. Just want to say I'm very pleased to be here at the county. It's an exciting place to be, and from day one I've been very welcomed, and it's a wonderful team. So I'm pretty excited to bring my experience here and be part of this wonderful team. So thank you very much.
So welcome to the best county in the province. Consent items. We have had, the clerk has a request to pull items 5 and 15. Does anyone else have any further consent items to pull or be discussed? All right, I see none online. I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Burt.
Yeah, thank you through you, Warden. I just wanted for council to consider supporting number 5, which is expanding the enrollment capacity at OVC. Certainly the OFA and other farm groups have been trying and for quite some time to increase the large animal vet capacity within the province, not only in the north, which the letter is looking for support. A lot of students go into vet college and they come out as small animal specialists, and it's very difficult to get the large animal vets to stay. And as we know, as in any industry, our older vets are soon to retire. So I just wanted to put this forward for a motion of support.
Thank you, Councillor Burt. And to that point, I know that the large animal vet that we utilize was trained in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
So we need more spots.
Yeah, and this could just be a tool in the toolbox to get more, certainly. So,
Okay, so moved by Councillor Burt and second by Deputy Warden Senes. All in favor? Thank you. And now, item 15, this is a letter regarding the senator from Rideau Lakes regarding concerns around Alto, the high-speed rail project, and B, Bill C-15 budget. So I'm not sure who would like to speak to that.
we can tag team on that, Mayor. Okay.
I can start to the team from Aspen.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up, or we wanted to bring this up. We really weren't sure what other conversations were happening around the table with the townships. In our township, it's certainly very vocal feedback, and both the north and south routes would run through the township. So there's even been some divisiveness with, some parties, oh, you support the north and the south, and that makes it very difficult. And certainly there are some positive comments, and I think we all realize how important enhanced rail transportation would be. However, most of the comments are negative, and rightly so. Not just loss of agricultural land and woodlots and environmental issues. Certainly, there's more questions than answers, and the more questions you ask, the more we need to ask, I believe. And there's just a lot of issues coming forward. Our mayor has certainly put out a statement. We're collecting feedback from residents' concerns and everything we hear, getting that put into a letter to draft to Alto and our MPs and our ministers, and certainly realizing it's a federal project, but it affects local residences. So I just wanted to put it out there. It ended up on the consent agenda. I thought it was important to pull, and I can get our mayor to add other comments as well. So,
Yes.
Just to add what Deputy Mayor Burt has said through you, Madam Warden. Like our Deputy Mayor said, a lot of negative comments. There has been some positive comments to it also. We try to look at them both. We look at the other municipalities that it could be affecting also. There's too many variables that we don't have answers to. I think it's a flawed process that the way they did it. If they would have just come out with a definite line, then you could comment on it a lot more. Now you're getting all kinds of comments from people. When you have corridors that are 10 kilometers wide and they only want 60 meters, you're going to have a lot of residents that are upset. And that going forward, it's sort of hard to support it. Yes, we do need better rail system in Canada, not just Ontario. I think they have to reevaluate this whole project myself.
Okay. Thank you for those comments. And yes, go ahead, Councillor Martin.
Yeah, so we're one that'll be affected also, and in speaking to our MP this morning, and our council yesterday dealt with it at our council meeting and did pass a motion kind of along the lines here, like nobody's saying they're against it. It's the concerns outweigh the positive, so we're keeping an eye on it. And we did tell them that they need to really look at this project and trying to kind of come out with some better things here, because it's all over the place. There's nothing there that we could really support 100% because it's going to divide our township. And right now it's dividing rural and the cities. It's going to get worse if they keep going the way they're going. So there's a lot of work to do, and hopefully, they're listening. Hopefully that these consultations are meaning something. That's what our MP said this morning, is make sure Alto is hearing you, and she'll do her part. We have to do our part, of course. And hopefully if we all work together, we can come up with something that works.
Okay, thank you for those comments. And the county is certainly gathering all these comments together from organizations. We are meeting again with Alto, and we will be putting a group together, a committee in regards to this as well. It is on the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus agenda this week. So certainly we'll bring back feedback from that as well. Further. So Councillor Watson is first. Go ahead.
Thank you, Warden. Through the statements that my colleagues have made today, just to update council, like Havelock Belmont Methuen last night, Joe Dubber Council actually had the same piece of correspondence on our agenda, and we too passed a motion outlining some of our concerns. We're not saying, absolutely not. We're saying we need to get a better understanding of what the impacts are going to be, not just on our residents, which is obviously huge, but also as it relates to the municipal corporation and the costs associated with road realignments and crossings and, loss of potential lands from our tax base, making sure that we as a local government aren't going to be on the hook for these expenses. So it is concerning. I know our residents wanted to hear from us on the matter. I also see the potential positive of it. I don't want to seem like I'm completely against Alto. I'm just kind of, and the motion spoke about the positive potential economic impacts of the project, but we do have some concerns that need to be addressed. So
Thank
I just
you.
want to share that.
Councillor Wilfred and then Councillor Taylor.
Just to add, Mayor Martin said he was talking to the MP. I was talking to the MP also, and they are trying to get another meeting set up in Asphodel Norwood Township. She's already asked the Minister of Transportation and to go through Alto to see if they can get another meeting set up. I can say, no, you're not going to get the answers that you want to hear, because none of us seem to be getting those answers when we are asking them. This is a consultation period. They're taking in all the concerns, and then they'll go from there. I was told that federal money is been put towards this consultation period, and no other further expenses have gone on with it. That's what I can tell everyone.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Warden Clark, and thanks to Asphodel Norwood for bringing this forward. We're going to have to deal with this sooner or later in the county and within the townships, right? Our township has not yet made an official statement. We're getting close. We thought that we would wait to get more information, but we're also getting more and more pressure from our residents to take a position on it. I can tell you personally, and I shared this with our MP yesterday. If they go ahead with that public meeting in Asphodel Norwood, and I really hope that they do, boy, they better have a large venue for it, because it's going to have residents from HBM, Asphodel Norwood, OSM, Doyle Dummer, and likely beyond at that. This project has benefits, and I think it's a mistake to suggest it does not. But the benefits, again, this is in my view, okay, Council, this is my opinion. The benefits are really entirely related to the large urban centers that are going to get a station. The areas in between those stations, which is for the most part rural Ontario, are being asked, and this is in my own words, to take it on the chin for the benefits of those large urban centers. My concern, I understand, and I was pleased to learn that there's been no actual fund allocation for this project yet. Right now, they're just funding the consultation. But my concern is with the cost versus benefit of it. And I'm going to take council back to our math classes. Some of them can barely remember that. If you take the number 10 to the 12th, what that means is you take the number 10, you go 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, 12 times. What you get is a number 1 with 12 zeros after it. That's 1 trillion. The number is a trillion. The federal deficit right now, the federal debt in this country is estimated to be close to $1.4 trillion. That's a staggering amount for a country with a population of 40 million. So this proposal intends to add, at the very least, another $100 billion to a $1.4 trillion debt. And it's my thought that there's no way this project will ever come on time and on budget. So 1 billion could easily become 2 billion, but then it gets even better. This project will likely, never is a long time, but that's about how long it'll take for this train to run at a profit, or at least even break even. So it'll further exacerbate an insurmountable federal debt. And that is for the benefit of a very small portion of our country and a very small percentage of our population. And it's my view that if the federal government they shouldn't spend $100 billion that's not absolutely necessary. But if they do, it should be on a project that benefits the entire country, not just a little portion of it. That's my position. We'll wait to see what our official statement from the township is. You're welcome for the math lesson.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. And I do remember, I'm sure you weren't referring to myself around the math for the agency. Councillor Graham.
Yeah, through you, Warden. Just a comment. I appreciate the sensitivity of the issue and all that, but again, we are at the barely out of the blocks with the consultation, and the fact that the Montreal to Ottawa connection is going to be first. This is 20 to 25 years down the line from the route that looks like from the conversations I've had in attending the One Alto public meeting. So again, I think we just got to be cautious to not get ahead of our skis here and understand, the final implications. It sounds as though there's progress being made to a more specific route, or maybe more specific routes based on the sounds of things that continues to go on in the spring, potentially by the winter of next year. And I think once you have to Mayor Wilford's point, once you have a specific route, you have something specific to talk about and specific to discuss. So I just think, to me, and some of the language that you're seeing, you're talking out of both sides of your cheeks here. Yes, there's potential positive. Yes, there's potential negatives, and there's a lot of unknowns in between. But the unknowns there's plenty of years between the unknowns for the unknowns to be addressed and clarified. And that's where we're at. We're in the years of clarification. So I just think it warrants a pause to sort of understand, gather the feedback, take it in, make sure that there's the ability for the public to input and specifically. But, I'm sure, and I would expect from the conversations I've had with our representation, that there will be time for municipal consult or municipal opinions to be specifically sought out. Right now, they're starting with the public. And that makes sense. You got to start somewhere. And this is cast the widest net to get the most feedback. Yeah, and I think it's a bit frustrating that, there's so much misinformation and so much unknowns when it comes to where, how, and what. But I just think it warrants a pause to not get ahead of ourselves and make a position that we don't necessarily want to support in the absence of knowing all the information. All right. There's no urgency for this.
Okay, thank you very much for everyone's comments. That was a great discussion. Certainly, we will be meeting again with the Alto staff, and we, at this point, I think, as Mayor Wilford brought up, we have more questions than we do answers. If the scope could be narrowed into, so we would know exactly where the rail is going and the impact. So I don't think we need a motion. I'm looking, that was just discussion around that. So can I have a motion though to receive the remaining correspondence? And I looked at Councillor Watson and Councillor Black. All in favor? Thank you. And I also need a motion for the remaining consent. I'm sorry, I'm looking. Okay. Consent items as well. I'm looking at online, Councillor Graham and Councillor Huntley. All in favor? Thank you. All right, we'll move now to receive notice of motion, and this is moved by Councillor Amiot and second by Councillor Whalen, and I'll look to Councillor Amiot to speak to it.
Yes, thank you. Through you, yeah, I put this forward, thought about it for a little while, and sort of recognizing sort of historically how this was brought forward, but considering just my thinking is basically why would council want to restrict the ability of any member of council to put forward their name for the position of warden? And at the end of the day, if we aren't happy with the work that the current warden is doing, we simply just wouldn't re-elect them. Right? That's just the way it would go. So I thought it made sense to bring this forward and see what council thought about amending our procedural bylaw to remove that restriction.
So there is a motion on the floor. Any discussion around that? Yes, Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Warren Clark. I think it was in 2022, there was a governance committee struck. I was on the committee, and I apologize if there's any other. I know Andy Mitchell was on it, and I don't remember. Were you on it, Carolyn? Okay. So we took a look at a lot of things, and what we decided was this is a recommendation that we would bring forward to county council, and it passed in a recorded vote. I don't have that in front of me. I tried to dig through the 2022 minutes using governance committee and using chairman warden as search words, and I just didn't have any luck at all. So anyway, I'm going from memory, but I do recall I believe it was a recorded vote, and it was, and I would assume at the time that Councillor Amiot, as a member of that committee for the recommendation, voted for it. I would think.
I don't remember the time, but I do remember the
So
circumstances around.
but the rationale and I mean, I understand the position of the motion. I do, and I don't entirely disagree with it, but I can try to help council understand the rationale with the recommendation of the committee at that time if I can. I think we all accept that the incumbent in any election has a slight advantage, whether that's our municipal election or as the warden. And oftentimes, unfortunately, people are just a little reluctant to vote for change. And so what has happened is you would have in this case, a sitting warden want to run again for another term, and perhaps another council member that thought they would like a chance at that opportunity as well. And they would be discouraged knowing or thinking that they had the outside track. It's always been my belief, and it was the committee's belief at the time, that the position of warden is a privilege and a responsibility that really should be shared equally, provided members want that opportunity. It shouldn't be dominated by one person over a lengthy period of time. We often compare ourselves to other counties, and at the time, but maybe it's changed, but at the time, there was no other county in Eastern Ontario that allowed their warden to stay on for more than 2 years. Most of them didn't have a policy because it wasn't necessary. As they went around the council table, some of them had the position of warden for 1 year, and then you had to step down, and then a second person had the privilege and the responsibility. Some of them said you could stay on for 2 years, but after that, it was just an agreement that you would step aside and let someone else do it. The county of Peterborough was established now here's going my memory, the county of Peterborough was established in 1850, and the first warden for the county was William Cottingham from Omini, I believe. And in the 170 years between 1850 and 2010, I think, the practice at the county here, and it wasn't something that had to be written in stone because it was complied with, and I'm sure Councillor Whalen will remember it. It was complied. If someone, 1 year term for warden at that time, if you ran for warden and you were doing a good job and you thought you'd like to do it for a second year, you were allowed that opportunity if county council agreed. But at the end of 2 years, you stepped aside and you let somebody else in.
All right.
And gave them the opportunity, and it went around the table like that. That system, although maybe it wasn't a hard and fast policy, it worked well for the county for 170 years, and it was fair. And we thought it was something that served the county well. So we wanted to bring that back to ensure that now the term of warden is 2 years, but any warden that sat for 2 years has done their part. They really should step up, say thank you very much, step aside and let someone else have the opportunity if they want. Now, I know the concern is going to be, well, if nobody wants it. And I guess that's a possibility, but I can tell you it's never happened in 170 years. It also could happen even if the current warden didn't want to come back. And nobody else did. So I don't know what would happen then, but it has never happened yet. So I just, that's the background. That's the background behind it.
Thank you, Mayor Taylor. And if this is an election year, maybe none of us will be back. Mayor Graham. Councilor.
For you, Warden, sorry about that, just clicked on the trigger.
Yeah.
With regards to, I guess my question is more procedural, maybe it's for Carrie. So with the notice of motion being brought forward today and discussed, I mean, is the intention to vote on this motion today? Because I remember I was there for that previous discussion, and I wouldn't mind the 2 weeks just to think about it. I think there was the concerns and the discussion around the equitability and the opportunity for different municipalities that should be represented to be represented. I don't know if a hard, fast rule or undoing a rule ever makes sense. To me, it's kind of limiting and confining and maybe unnecessary, but I would be curious to, I'm not necessarily thinking of asking for a staff report, but because like Joe said, I thought there was a governance committee that kind of looked at how other places, kind of manage this sort of issue, because we're not unique in that regard. But I think I'd like it, if not a report, then I definitely like a little bit of time to sort of think about, okay, well, rather than just undoing it back to sort of, without any confines, is there maybe a better way? And I'll review what the previous motion was in comparison to this, and sort of, maybe we can come back with some, accomplishing what the intention is without the rigidity of the, the amendment or the motion as it's presented, or the previous motion that exists.
Thank you. And I'm going to Councillor Armstrong.
Warden Clark. I appreciate the history lesson, but I think we can all appreciate the fact that the job is a lot more complex, a lot more time consuming than it ever was 100 years ago. With that background, I think we all agree on a couple of things, 3 things. First of all, we want the best, most committed, competent person in the job. Secondly, we want an open competition. Anybody can apply and be considered by their peers and considered as to how well they would do the job. And thirdly, it is a job. And like any other job, it takes a year minimum to learn it, a second year to figure out, what you didn't do right. And maybe only the 3rd year, you start to actually be competent at it. So I don't think restricting the warden's position for 2 terms is overly restrictive. On the other hand, I think it allows us to get the most competent, effective, and dedicated person in that job. And that's what we all want. So I don't think putting restrictive handcuffs on that position serves us very well in that. And frankly, if we don't want somebody for a 3rd term, we don't vote them in. We absolutely have that power. So it's all about using your power to vote. So thank you. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Councillor Bird and then Councillor Lamset.
Thank you, through you, Warden. Really just piggybacking on what Councillor Armstrong said. The job has changed a lot, even in the last couple of terms, and look at all of the roles that the warden plays within the province and beyond. I think we need to realize that the role has changed, and I think it's a good idea to take this back. Let us take a look at it for a couple of weeks, send some ideas. Excuse me, our voices today. Send some ideas to Carrie, or thoughts to Carrie, and have it come back. But it's true, we won't be handcuffed either way, because we will be voting for that. So just a comment, think about how the job has changed in the last term or 2. Thank you.
Councillor Lansett.
Yeah, for me, I look at this where I see all the things that the warden's doing right now. I'm absolutely amazed that you can accomplish all these things. I think we have a fantastic warden. And the continuity of the connections is very important now. It's not like it used to be where you have a little meeting and everybody discusses it. Now you're online, you're doing all these meetings, and our warden is all over this province trying to help the community. And I think our next warden will. And I don't think we should be restricting some of the people that really want to do this. So we elect the warden, we can change whoever the warden is. I think that touching on Deputy Mayor Armstrong's or Councillor Armstrong's comment is, we need to make sure that we have a very confident warden. And I think it does take time to get there. I think Bonnie might be there now. I'm not sure, but so it's good. So it's just, I think you should be able to pick whoever you want.
The confidence.
Yes, and I don't like the restriction of not being able to pick the best person for the role that wants to do it. So thank you. That's my comment.
Okay. I'm going to. Yes, Councillor Babin.
Right. Thank you. Through agree with comments of Councillor Lamhead and Carol as well. I believe, like Terry said, continuity is a big part of this. Building relationships, especially on the committees. You said EORN and EOWC. I think it benefits us to have you there in a senior position instead of somebody that's coming in there maybe in their first or second year. You've already developed those relationships. It's going to help us in terms of moving the things we want to move forward. But the one thing that the question I've asked of a few members, and Joe, I know you just gave a history lesson here, so maybe we could. The last motion that was made in 2022. So what's kind of has me concerned here is it looks like there's a flip-flop going on here. So I'd just like to maybe for the people that made that decision back in 2022, more of the rationale, because I mean, here we're only 4 years later and we're kind of flip-flopping the decision we made 4 years ago. So are we going to flip-flop this 4 years from now? Like, that's kind of my concern in terms of, where we're going to go. Is this the decision we make today? Is it going to be obviously not in perpetuity because we're only restricted to each council? But as I said, for the optics of it, when I just looked at it for myself, being a new member on council, my first question was, why are we changing this if this was just dealt with 4 years ago? So I don't know if somebody could maybe give some background to that.
Yes, I'll look to Carolyn. Maybe you can diplomatically.
Well, it was the previous council. It was done before the election, the 2022 election, that change was made. So, and council changed at that point. So the makeup of this council is different. There are some returning players, but that's the difference. It's not this same council that made that decision, right? So.
Okay. Any further? Yes, Councillor Watson.
Chair, through you, I understand what is being said here. Procedurally, I'm confused about what is happening. So forgive me. I don't know if this has appeared on our agenda as a notice of motion, and I've heard a couple of councillors talk about putting this off for 2 weeks. I figured that was what was going to be happening, but it sounds like we're debating that today. So I'm just not sure procedurally
to ask the clerk to speak to that.
Sure. So the notice of motion is moved and seconded. It is on the floor. But any member of council can amend it to have it deferred till the April 8th meeting.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yes, Matthew.
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion to defer for 2 weeks. I asked the exact question that Heather asked, looking for Carrie to clarify. That was my understanding procedurally. Like I said, I think it sounds like, especially for the sake of, Hart representing the newer members of council, to understand that conversation, I think has merit. So I think we should, like I said, just think about it, and there's no rush, and we can go from there. So I'll make that motion.
Yes, and Pat has seconded. Pat Wilford. All in favor? Okay. All right, good discussion. Does anyone have any item of public or community interest for information purposes? Is there a Councillor Black, Councillor Taylor, any further? No, okay. Any community announcements? I would like to announce that on Good Friday, the Keene Lions Club is having its fish fry. So it's takeout. There's also, if you are not so inclined to have fish, there is also chicken strips. So anyway, come down to Keene and enjoy. Thank you. We're now going to move into closed session under the authority of the Municipal Act under Section 239(2)B. And I'm looking for a mover and seconder for that. Moved by Councillor Burt and second by Councillor Nelson. All in favor? Thank you. We are now in closed.